Hey guys, welcome back. We have a new week of astrology to get into. We are now coming out of the energy of our full moon in Aquarius. That, of course, took place this past weekend. And as we open the week, this week, you guys, we are in some of the most auspicious, positive natured energy of the entire year. We really have a very rare and spectacular alignment that's taking place between three bodies in the sky, and it's happening exactly on Tuesday, but Monday it is also right there. And really all week is kind of this like lingering magical moment in time because of these alignments that we've got going on, and that is Venus, Jupiter, and the fixed star Sirius aligning together in the sign of Cancer. I'm telling you guys, if nothing else, it's just probably going to be a good week, but there is definitely something like wins, gains, growth, abundance, fun times, good times oriented about the way that all of this is lining up for us this week. And I think that we are like going places. Mercury also stations direct on Monday, so we are future focused. There's definitely a very future oriented, forward facing energy to the week as well. And there could be some gifts, blessing, abundance. Be open to receive all that universe has to give this week, you guys. It is a special week and we've got some things to talk about. So let's get into our report of the day. Take a good look at how energy is coming together for us to open our week and what else we have going on as we move through this week of blessed actions and blessed alignments. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Monday, August 11th, 2025. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the day where we are narrating the shift of the ages. And if you guys stick with me until the end of this report, I have done a collective tarot reading for us today as well. I like to tap the energy field from more than one modality whenever I'm doing these energy overviews just to get an alternative energetic perspective on what's going on out there. So there could be some messages in there for you. We will do that at the end. We got a whole bunch of beautiful astrology that we need to get into, guys. If you've been feeling like you just like need a break and haven't been able to catch one, this might be the time. This might be when that moment shines for you. All week, really, we do have a little bit, I would say, of this like lingering magic in the air. And here's why. I'll tell you guys, I'm just going to say it right up front so I don't just like get into the energy and forget to mention the main point until I get further into the report. But we have Jupiter right now transiting the sign of Cancer. Jupiter takes 12 years to transit the zodiac. He's in each sign for approximately a year, unless of course he does a retrograde and then it makes it take longer. But generally Jupiter transits through each sign of the zodiac for 1 year. So that means every 12 years we get a chance for Jupiter to be in any specific sign. Right now, Jupiter is at his once in 12-year transit of the sign of Cancer. Located in the sign of Cancer is the fixed star Sirius. The fixed star Sirius is at 14 degrees of the sign of Cancer, and this is like one of the most benefic and auspicious fixed stars in ancient astrology. It has a lot to do with like blessings and success and good fortune and like a great reputation and like tremendous gains. It has to do with like the leader and the wise man as well, and it just is known to bring like blessings and good fortune and good luck, and it's just very supportive in our efforts to succeed as long as we're not taking advantage of or abusing that energy, because falls from grace can be like equally indicated if we're kind of like taking it too far. And I will also say that is essentially the only potential for downside in terms of this energy this week is an aptitude maybe a little bit to like go overboard, like over consuming, overspending, indulging, just this almost like limitless capacity to engage in some of these like Venus oriented situations or dynamics or themes or archetypes. That is something that we do want to watch and pay attention and be careful of. But it's also kind of funny because the symbolism that we have coming through is indicating that, but is also saying, you know, like that may just be a part of the story this week, and it may be a part of the pleasantness that this energy brings. And I'll talk about that as we get through the report. But The one potential downside here, again, could be the tendency towards excess or limitlessness in various capacities, you know, all things in moderation, but this week's just maybe a little bit less moderate than other weeks. But anyways, we've got this alignment taking place between Jupiter and Sirius in the sign of Cancer. Fixed stars never move their location. They're always at the same location. So it's only once in 12 years that Jupiter comes into alignment with Sirius. Sirius is also like Sirius is the brightest fixed star in the heavens that has been, you know, referred to and studied and acknowledged since ancient times. And Jupiter is also like the brightest, one of the brightest stars in the sky. And Venus is also the diamond in the sky. So we have 3 planets, and again, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself because I was talking about the once in 12 year potential, or once in 12 year activation rather, of Sirius and Jupiter, as Jupiter transits through Cancer every 12 years and comes to the 14th degree of the zodiac, Western tropical zodiac. That's the location of Sirius. So, and Jupiter stays at each degree generally for about 5 days or so. So throughout the duration of this entire week, we have this alignment going on. But what is making it especially rare and especially unique and especially spectacular is the fact that, as I was just mentioning, Venus is also forming this exact conjunction. We have a Venus-Jupiter conjunction that takes place once a year. That is always also a very auspicious conjunction. Venus and Jupiter are known as the great benefics when they come together. This is also commonly referred to as like one of the best aspects in astrology. Jupiter amplifies things. Venus, of course, is like all the good things in the world and in life and what we want and what makes us comfortable and what we love and what we like. So when we put Venus and Jupiter together, this and Jupiter is expansion and growth, and it supersizes things, and it's the great benefic, right? It's the planet, it's the Santa Claus planet. Jupiter is known to bring also blessings and gifts and good fortune and abundance. So of course, when we put those two together, it can just be like a lot of good things, or like a very big heart. But then we also place that exactly with the fixed star Sirius, and we're talking about just this almost like over the top amplified vibe out there that really has to do with like just all of the goodness, like the cup runneth over, like the fruits of the labor, like things bigger and better than we could have imagined. And we've also got some interesting lunar aspects going on as this energy comes together. The moon on Monday, actually, and I'm going to get into a deeper breakdown of all of this as we move through the report, but just kind of to lay it all out there. We have a Pisces moon going on Monday, you guys, and that means that the moon will be forming a trine as we get the day started on Monday to Venus and Jupiter in their conjunction in the sign of Cancer. Another special thing about this here alignment that we've got going on is that it actually is a 2-day alignment between Venus and Jupiter, because I just got done, well, a few minutes ago, I told you guys it takes Jupiter generally about 5 days or so to transit 1 degree, and Venus happens to be coming to the degree where Jupiter is on his last day at that degree. So as Venus prepares to leave the degree on Monday, where her and Jupiter align and move to the next degree, 14 degrees of Cancer, which is the degree of fixed star Sirius, Jupiter will also be concluding his stay at the 13th degree of Cancer and moving to that 14th degree as well. So we have a 2-day exact to the degree conjunction taking place, 13 degrees of Cancer, 14 degrees of Cancer. 14 degrees of Cancer is also the location of Sirius. And the moon, as I said, on Monday will be trining Venus and Jupiter in their conjunction before coming into a conjunction with the North Node. Super dreamy energy, you guys. Like if there ever was a window open where dreams can come true and, you know, wish on a falling star or like make a wish and throw the penny into the wishing well. Like this is the type of energy. I do think a lot of people are going to be perhaps like mind blown or very surprised by like the instant manifestation tendency that can come with this, or just things coming through that are maybe like bigger or better than they could have dreamed or could have imagined. Again, this is also a very good period of time to ask for something if you need it, ask for, you know, a favor, or if you feel like you are up for some type of raise or promotion, you are likely to get that's likely to be agreed upon by higher ups and stuff, especially if you do deserve it in this energy. So, you know, take advantage of this. This is a special energy. Even if, you know, the giving and receiving dynamic of things here, this is a very watery energy as well, very emotionally receptive, emotionally free-flowing energy, emotionally boundless and limitless energy. A lot of people, again, are probably going to be in the like my cup runneth over, feeling very compassionate and very like motivated to be charitable and to give, like generosity, kindness, this type of stuff, kind of free flowing. And also, as I was just saying, you know, be receptive. Universe is coming through with the goodie bags this week. There are gifts and blessings that kind of are indicated really to abound in this energy. And not only that, you guys, listen to these two symbols that we have happening simultaneously. First of all, the position of Uranus. We've been talking about this for the past couple days. Uranus is at 1 degree right now of the sign of Gemini, which translates into the second Sabian symbol. When we're reading symbols associated with degree placement, we always round up a degree because we read the wave of energy that is coming in and that's beginning to manifest and build, not the energy that is waning and dissipating. So with Uranus currently being at 1 degree of the sign of Gemini, that means that Uranus is at the second Sabian symbol, which is Santa Claus furtively filling stockings hanging in front of the fireplace. Jupiter, again, is the Santa Claus planet. Santa Claus, of course, brings like gifts and blessings, and Uranus is the shock factor as well. Uranus also brings blessings in disguise. And on Tuesday, when this energy does hit exactly, when all these three bodies are aligned at that 14 degrees of Cancer, the moon in Aries is actually going to be reactivating that kite from our full moon in Aquarius that we just had and forming a sextile to Uranus. So again, there could be some very like shocking or unexpected or surprising turns of events in a positive direction, or growth or expansion or abundance or favors or gifts or something positive that is coming in and that is happening Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all week really, we're in this energy, but Tuesday is the most exact alignment of this stuff that we've got going on. So check your chart, you guys. This, as I've mentioned, is happening at 14 degrees of Cancer. We all have 14 degrees of Cancer somewhere in our chart. Look at the house that this is occurring in for you, and that could give you an indication of the area of life where you are being blessed somehow this week. Another very interesting thing about this alignment to me, the Sabian symbol for 14 degrees of the sign of Cancer where Sirius is located, of course, as I just got done saying, that is 15 degrees of the sign of Cancer, which is a group of people who have overeaten and enjoyed it. So as I was mentioning earlier, this feeling of this like overindulgence or this overconsumption or this like overspending, like yes, we do have that going on, but like for once, this does maybe seem to be an energy where we can allow ourselves a little bit of flexibility in terms of the moderation energy. There's just an abundance. There's just an excess being indicated. And the fact that it's at that degree, like they've overeaten, yes, but they've also enjoyed it. Like there was also even like the act maybe of that overconsumption. And trust you, believe me, I am never one for the overs of anything. I personally am very moderation oriented at this point in my life. But this is, again, that like cup runneth over type of energy. And this situation just might call to kind of like go all in on some things. But again, it does seem to be like what we're getting involved in right now is for the best. Remember, we also recently had Mars enter the sign of Libra, which is ruled by Venus. And I also talked about this in my last video, which was that full moon in Aquarius video, because Mars activated that kite aspect that has been very powerful over this past couple days, and that has been a force that has been really trying to influence, I think, some type of dynamic change and transformation on quite a collective level. But anyways, Mars in the sign of Libra, ruled by Venus. Mars is our actions and our behaviors. Venus right now, again, is at this like extremely auspicious point and having this alignment. And so to me, that's like either like risks paying off or like what we're getting involved in, just having some type of bigger or better or more abundant or more blessed or fortunate or growth oriented outcome perhaps than we could have imagined. Or again, on the other hand of things, we are just like doing too much or spending too much or I don't know, purchasing, buying, consuming, like giving too much as well. But again, on the other hand of things, like that is just what this energy seems to be about. So Mars is also in the sign of Libra. It might be going back and forth a little bit, but for the most part, again, I think that people's actions are going to be beneficially or productively or positively rewarded, or the results are probably just going to be maybe better than expected in energy like this. But good times, good vibes this week, you guys, and one of, therefore, you know, the most magical and blessed weeks of this whole year. Victories, successes, expansion, also creativity. This is a super like powerful creative energy flow that we've got going on here as well. Wisdom is also indicated here, and winning gains. Also like deals, negotiations, of course, connections, meetings, all that type of stuff may also have better outcomes than you might have imagined. Things are probably going to go well. Anybody who's in the field of like sales or lawyering or like making deals, making negotiations is probably going to be a very good week for your line of work. Also, anybody who's in art or music or any type of very creative fields like that, you might find some type of big inspiration that leads to some type of successful project that comes through during this period of time. Now, I will also say this is not necessarily the week for like manual labor, like heavy lifting or like very rigorous and strenuous jobs and tasks and work and stuff like that. Probably not gonna get much momentum in that regard this week, because everything is more geared and oriented towards like having a good time and rest and relaxation and like taking the day off or like being on vacation. And of course, you know, not everybody is going to be able to do that, but I just don't think that people are going to be super like hard work oriented. This is much more of a socially oriented, comfort oriented, home and family oriented energy. Remember, of course, again, this is happening in the sign of Cancer, so there could definitely be themes this week going on having to do with home and family, and maybe like good times or just like good luck or positive things happening having to do with the home, with the family, with the mother, with even like the local community, or things to do with like situations and stuff inside the home. So we've got all of that. And then even, you guys, after we move through the energy of, as I said, Tuesday, Monday and Tuesday this week, we do still have this lingering conjunction between Jupiter and Sirius. So this energy carries on even after the Venus influence passes, and all week we're in this. Now, aside from that, on Monday we have Mercury stationing direct. Mercury also has been involved in this huge planetary configuration that we've had going go on that really defined the nature of our full moon in Aquarius that we just had this past weekend that we're coming out of now. Mercury has stationed retrograde opposite Pluto in a trine to Saturn and Neptune, conjunct in the sign of Aries, sextile to Uranus, sextile to Mars. Mercury's also right now ruling the position of Uranus, who's in a trine to Pluto. Surprise meetings. Okay, there's another, like with Mercury going direct also, Mercury's pairs and couples and, well, it's like attracting like, it's also opposites, it's dichotomies and different, like exactly oppositional, like octaves to things as well. Things that are the same and things that are different, but this is also making me think of like the right pieces coming together that help things move forward, that help things progress, that help things to grow and expand, or that help some type of like gift or blessing or positive momentum to come through somehow. Mercury, and it's probably going to happen maybe in a bit of an unexpected way. Mercury right now is in the sign of Leo in opposition to Pluto. Things that are being discovered, things that we are finding out, hidden things that have come to life. Also, like, there could be some really crazy information that is somehow intertwined with the way that things are coming together this week. With Uranus right now in the sign of Gemini and in that trine to Pluto, I think that we are just gonna kind of be getting a cascade of like secrets revealed, or like things that have not been known somehow rising to the surface or gaining in awareness or being exposed somehow over the coming weeks and months. And something to do with this alignment could be emphasizing that somehow, or there could be something coming from things that we didn't know were happening or going on, or there could be connections that are coming in right now that we hadn't previously anticipated. Again, perhaps a little bit of maybe this shock factor to the way the energy is coming together for us this week. But with Mercury stationing direct on Monday, that does mean that things are about to start moving forward. And again, it may seem like things are suddenly like heading in a totally different direction than they just were a couple of days ago, or, you know, over this past couple of months. We've really been going through some very trying, intense, challenging astrology over this past several weeks. And I think I said this in the beginning, if you've been feeling like you just like can't catch a break and you've been needing one, this should be maybe a bit of a breath of fresh air coming in on that Aquarius, on the heels of that Aquarius full moon, to kind of fill our cup up a little bit, help us see the glass as half full instead of half empty, maybe re-inspire us on some level and facilitate our ability to move forward. I also should say there's a very, very highly spiritual quality to the nature of energy this week. Sirius also gives a lot of like spiritually enlightened connotations and potential and indications as well. And with Jupiter there, that is wisdom, that is the bigger picture, that is this expanded perspective. Spiritual awakenings could definitely be, and as I was just describing with the mercurial energy of things, like the way that we are thinking about things, the way that we are shifting our mind in a lot of cases could be the gift or the blessing, like to the extent of how much it opens things up or reorients us in a way that is just gonna be a much more positive or productive or beneficial path or mindset or mental frame moving forward. A lot of people are going through, I do think, some truly like powerful conscious awakenings now, and they will continue to as we move through the rest of this year. And that itself, again, like could be the big victory or the big prize for some reason on some level. So all of that, also, as we move into the energy this week, Mars does begin to move on. Mars does begin to move out of opposition with Saturn and Neptune, out of trine with Pluto and Uranus. Now, granted, as we do enter the week, Monday and Tuesday, Mars is still right there in that dynamic. Tuesday, I think I mentioned this earlier in the report, and I'll talk about it again in a minute, the moon in Aries is going to reactivate that kite, those 6 planets that were in that powerful alignment for the full moon in Aquarius that, again, we are coming out of as we are moving through the beginning of our week this week. So we're going to be back in that energy on Tuesday, along with that really beautiful alignment between Venus, Jupiter, and Sirius. Tuesday is like a very special day. We have like a grand air trine going on and a kite that's actually kind of a double kite that's being activated by the moon. So the moon is really triggering off that grand air trine and also that kite aspect energy. And we have those 3 planets coming into alignment. Like, this does feel like something good being blown in on the wind. It does feel like a breath of fresh air for sure. And again, like, this may just be kind of like the moment you've been waiting for, or the momentum you've been waiting for, or the shift in direction or something that you've been waiting for. But, you know, with Mars also beginning to move on, Mercury stationing direct, Jupiter and Venus and Sirius, it's like there is something forward-facing, future-focused, growth, progress, development-oriented. Lots of communicative energy as well, lots of connectivity, very busy, active energy with Mercury stationing direct in the midst of all of this as well. This could be quite travel oriented, relationship oriented, of course, also financial oriented. There could be a lot of like big things with like money or deals or negotiations. There could also be like legal outcomes or judgments of situations going on this week. But again, like, it seems like whatever happens is for the best. Now, looking specifically at the energy that we do have coming in on Monday, aside from Venus and Jupiter being in a conjunction at 13 degrees of the sign of Cancer, and that also being right there with Sirius, and so that energy, again, being very strong and powerful to get our week started. We also, as I think I mentioned earlier, have the moon transiting through the sign of Pisces. This is another water sign. We're going to have a trine happening between the moon and Pisces and Venus and Jupiter and Sirius to open the day on Friday. And then the moon will actually move on and build into a conjunction with the North Node in the sign of Pisces. This is another one of those energies that's coming through this week that is orienting us more towards the future. The North Node is the destiny point. This is what we are growing and evolving into in the sign of Pisces. This has to do with spiritual growth. And again, Sirius also gives like spiritual enlightenment and illumination and wisdom and stuff like that. So there could be a very like spiritual, mystical, magical quality or pull to the way that we are either feeling about things or even like thinking about things, or just kind of like oriented in the reality as we get the day started and begin to move through the week on Monday. This is also, of course, a very watery energy. Watery oriented activities could like just actually literally be happening in our lives, having maybe a good time in, on, around, or involving water somehow. But it's highly sensitive, you guys. As I said earlier, this is super, super creative, artistic. It's very emotionally expressive energy, very divinely inspired. It's also spiritually attuned, spiritually connected, spiritually perceptive as well. There's a very direct line of communication, I would say, between like us and a higher power that is just present and kind of like saturating the energy field Monday specifically, of course, but also throughout the course of the rest of this week as well. And as I had stated earlier, I think people are going to be generally seeing the glass as half full this week. This is an optimistic energy, and people are probably going to be having experiences and, you know, events, circumstances playing out that are better than they could have imagined. This type of configuration happening in alignment also with that Pisces moon in the trine with the North Node, literally dreams coming true could be something that some people are indicating here, especially if this is just like very lit up in your own personal chart. Also with the Mars opposition to Saturn and Neptune on Monday and Tuesday as well. I feel like, because that energy right there makes it real kind of like difficult for us to like get our head in the game and be super engaged in doing like hard, strong like labor or work. This is not the best work ethic when we have Saturn and Neptune in a conjunction in both retrograde opposite Mars in any sign, but especially when they're in Mars's sign of Aries. This is like not a whole bunch of gas in the tank when it comes to like having to get the job done. However, pleasure, socializing, indulging, you know, shopping, being artistic, being creative, all of this stuff is like very, very supported. And again, as I said earlier, you know, sales, deal making, lawyer type of stuff, things in professions ruled by Venus. This is where you are likely to find good outcomes from the efforts that you put in, but you know, anything that requires like brute force or like just like a lot of hard work or effort may be difficult. You might find it difficult to just like find the will to engage in that type of stuff today. But a vessel, you guys, for the abundance of universe to be poured into, being spiritually quenched on some level, making a wish and watching it come true. It's like the fairy godmother energy in Cinderella type of thing as well. Like there is just truly a magical quality to Monday's energy. The three brightest bodies in the heavens coming together and being trined by the moon in Pisces. So rare and spectacular alignments. We're not going to get another opportunity to have this happen for 12 years, if it even happens then, because that would mean that the next time that Jupiter cycles through and transits the sign of Cancer and comes to that 14 degrees, it would mean that Venus would also have to be at the exact point in her transit of the sign of Cancer that she would happen to align with Jupiter during the 5 days out of 12-year window period that he is at that point. So, you know, I guess that's why I'm kind of maybe myself going like a little bit overboard in terms of like the benefic nature of this energy, but it is just very rare. Like we've got 5 days in the course of 12 years for this alignment to take place, and it means that Venus has to be in the exact location on one of those 5 days for something like this to happen. So, you know, you could see how that could easily become 24 years or 36 years or 48 years until it happens again if Venus is not exactly at that point in that 5-day window. So maybe just do something special for yourself or your family this week if it's not something that is organically unfolding and happening. Sirius, I should have said this at the beginning, but I'm saying it now. Let me tell you guys like some of the specific qualities associated with the Sirius energy. This is high achievement, success, fame, like noble reputation, great profits can come here, spiritual strength and inspiration, as I've stated, leadership abilities, recognition, wisdom, and enlightenment. Again, there is a dimension of this energy that can also indicate like falls from grace if the blessings associated with what Sirius brings into our life or are taken for granted or misused in some type of way. So there is that potential as well. And again, this is a very overindulgent energy. And even with the North Node moon trine on Monday as well to those Cancer planets, the North Node can also like pull it out of us, or it can just be a bit of an excessive energy. Also, Jupiter supersizes things, so that's the one thing we're looking out for, is not, you know, overdoing it too much. But other than that, this just does seem dreamy, spiritual, beautiful, magical, like fairy dust sprinkled all over everything type of vibes Monday. Things could definitely seem too good to be true. In other energy, they might be. in this energy, they're likely to be actually as they are. And the outpourings, literal water, feeling, sentiment, love, money, indulgence, people feasting, people splurging, people perhaps being a bit excessive or over the top with expressions of love, of gratitude, of affection, of emotion. Also, a very powerful idealistic tendency is likely in this energy. It does, to be completely honest, feel a bit detached from reality. This is a very kind of like fantasy oriented energy, especially on Monday as we have that Pisces moon going on. But this is also the time when we're supposed to be doing that. I do think we should allow ourselves to dream or to wish or to envision what it is that we want in this energy. This is great manifestation energy. Enjoy the fruits of your labor type of energy, or the victories or successes that you have earned type of energy, the rewards that have been a long time coming, gifts or blessings or abundance or wisdom or spiritual knowledge or connection, again, that comes through here, or the kindness maybe even that this energy brings into our lives. This is a moment in time to truly count, feel, and experience our blessings. Mercury stationing on Monday, you know, we are moving on, we are moving forward, things are opening up as well. Maybe again, that also putting a positive spin on our mentality or our ideas or our thoughts about things. Tuesday, in some more detail now, Tuesday is the day exactly this 14-degree alignment is taking place, tropical zodiac. The moon on Tuesday, which I've already mentioned, is going to have entered the sign of Aries and will be reactivating that kite aspect, forming the conjunction to Saturn and Neptune retrograde in Aries, opposing Mars in Libra, trining Mercury in Leo, sextiling Pluto in Aquarius, sextiling Uranus in Gemini. So bing, 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 bing. We got tons of lunar activations taking place, 6 planets being activated by the moon on Tuesday, while we have this alignment between Venus, Jupiter, and Sirius happening. Could be, again, a very busy day. There could be some very unexpected events or connections, or the nature of the way that things go could just not be exactly what we anticipated, but it is likely to feel like a good thing. You may, with the moon, I will say with the moon in Aries, ruled by Mars in the sign of Libra, opposite Saturn and Neptune in the sign of Aries, again, like, you may not be feeling all that like robust or vigorous, or like you've got like tons of physical energy or vitality that you need to burn out. This could be like a kind of like low physical energy day. Again, it's very much more like rest, relaxation, like self-care, pampering oriented, but there's definitely this dynamic of like fast-paced, unanticipated action or movement that is either happening around us or happening within us, or like motivating us to take some type of action for some reason. Uranus, as I stated earlier, you guys, Santa Claus furtively filling stockings, hanging in front of the fireplace, very much aligned with the whole entire astrological story that is being told this week. And there could also, with the serious emphasis this week, be something associated with or to do with things like a king or a wise leader, spiritual teacher, spiritual figure, some type of master or something like that being highlighted. Stars maybe like shining bright somehow. Eyes on the skies also. There could be an emphasis on what's going on in the heavens, what's going on in the like in space, in the cosmos, in even like the air around us. We do have this grand air trine that's simultaneously being activated on Tuesday as well. But, you know, shocking information that moves things in a good direction. Or it could also be like awakening to some of our own talents or some of our own gifts. There could be a creative energy that is stirring or that is rising to the surface within us Monday and Tuesday this week as well. even people that don't like naturally lean into that dimension of themselves, like the inner artist, the inner creative, the inner mystic, is likely to show its face somehow as we move through this energy. So make a wish on a star, you guys, this week. Dreams can and will and do come true when we have alignments such as this going on. We do have this wave, I see it, I mean, all this water energy, right, of really what is like high heart energy washing over the collective this week. I would say well deserved after a lot of what we've been through, at least energetically, over this past several weeks, and also in consideration of what we still have yet to come as we continue moving through this year. We've got eclipse season coming up next. For now though, you guys, as I said earlier, this is a really great week to count our blessings, to like dream big, to enjoy the bounty or the pleasures or the fruits of your labor and what life has to offer and seems to be serving up to us this week. Truly a moment of cosmic magic lingering all week. So that's what I have to say, you guys, about the astrology for the week. We have a tarot reading to talk about today. Now, this is going to be a brief tarot reading, but I find it funny because we have the only card that we had coming out is the Seven of Cups, which is all about like dreams and fantasies and visions and what we're going to pick and what we're going to choose, and whether something is what we think it is, or maybe it's just an illusion, or maybe it's just an ideal, or being sure that what we pick is like what we're actually going to get, like things maybe not being as they seem, but for sure some type of choice, options, and perhaps like wish fulfillment, or having an opportunity to seize onto one of those dreams or one of those visions and like choose them and bring them into reality and make them true and make them real. Now, what's also interesting was the card that we had on the back of the deck was the Nine of Wands in reverse. So again, this to me is indicating having maybe reached the end of a period of challenge, a period of struggle, maybe something that has been a long time coming, and a break in that energy and something opening up, and suddenly perhaps new options or opportunities or choices or alternatives or potentials arriving, kind of just like maybe appearing before us, or being there as though by some type of stroke of luck or divine alignment, or things blowing in on the air. We literally have these things coming in on a cloud, right? This like breath of fresh air energy that's coming through here. So it looks like the winds of change could be literally changing the dynamic of things. I think a lot of people in this energy are going to be going from like struggle city, like not being able to get a step ahead, like trying to take one step forward, ending up like 5 steps backwards, and just like not being able to work it out, to sort it out, to like make any progress happen. Maybe feeling like no matter what they do, it's like nothing ever changes or no breakthrough is made. But this seems as though for whatever reason that time has passed, or maybe we've made it through and now we're at a point of trying to figure out or discern or decide what the future path looks like. And again, there could be some blessings coming in somehow this week that are just presenting themselves to us somehow, and we need to be able to tell the difference between what is good for us and maybe what is just a temptation also, or what is too much. That's another thing. This is a very, very seductive, tempting energy when we've got such an expanded Jupiterian influence right now. And again, it can be very like fantasy oriented. It can be very like idealistic and rose-colored glasses oriented. So we want to do our best to pick the option or make the choices or align ourselves with the things that I do think are going to help us grow or spiritually advance or further our potential somehow, and maybe perhaps not the things that are just like pure indulgence or temptation. But then again, who am I to say? A group of people who have overeaten and enjoyed it, all of this excessive energy, it kind of like the outpouring, the overflow, it is just the nature of things this week. And, you know, we've even got like 7 cups floweth over with potential in this reading as well. So that's how I feel about that, you guys. That's what I have to say about our tarot for the day. We're going to get one more card now. This is going to be a synchronicity card. We are going to get a message from God, Spirit, Universe, one final piece of guidance or advice. What do we need to know? What should we keep in mind? What should we tell ourselves or remind ourselves of as we move through the week? And our card says, you are protected, which again, to me is a throwback to that full moon in Aquarius that we just had. That was at the Sabian symbol degree, a guard dog defending his master in possession or something close to that. And Sirius is also the dog star, and it does have to do with loyalty, and it is like very protective also. So you are protected, you guys. For he shall give his angels charge over you to keep you in all your ways. Psalms 91:11. Know your guardian angel is with you always, protecting you from harm. Be assured he keeps you safe. When fear overwhelms you, read the 91st Psalm in its entirety and rest in the assurance that you are protected. So there it is, you guys. This is a good week, again, to maybe, if you need to, take a risk, ask for a favor, put yourself out there somehow. We have a direct message that you are protected, and we have a lot of very specific alignments that are indicating the same things, blessed action, and Spirit has her back this week, you guys. So that's what I have to say. Message from the stars, message from the cards. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, you guys. Subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends if you think that they would also enjoy this type of astrology content. I would love to have them. If you want to know what's on this whiteboard, I have a Facebook group where I post images of those boards. You can find that by looking in my description box below. There will be a link to it, and click on that link. It'll take you to the pictures of the boards. So that's where I put those. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you're having experiences that line up with what I'm talking about in these videos, drop me a comment. Let me know in my comment section below. That is super valuable information to me. I am so grateful for your presence here. I love you guys so much. And thank you so much also to all of those of you who have been donating to my channel. Honestly, means the world to me. Can't thank you enough. Super appreciate it. And yeah, so I'll be back, you guys. Come back with me. We've got more astrology to get into as we continue to move through this week. The moon's going to be making more aspects. We've got more to talk about as this week's energy unfolds, and I will be back on Wednesday to do just that. So you don't want to miss it, you guys. I will see you then. Have a very beautiful introduction to your week, and I really think that you will. And until next time, bye, guys.